Ladies and gentlemen, spawning in the bottom left-hand position as the blue Protoss player representing Mouse Sports, we have HasuObs, the staple of the European StarCraft community.
Game paused.
And looks like we have a little bit of a pause there, so we'll wait and make sure that all of those issues are resolved. But you were talking just now, Todd, about HasuObs versus TLO, and how TLO is currently playing very versatile. He, of course, is quite well known for coming out with some more interesting strategies, like stuff that you don't typically see other players do. Is he still doing this in Heart of the Swarm, or do you feel his play's evolved a bit?
Yeah, he's definitely still doing this, and actually, I was just watching the replay of these two players playing on Daybreak, and TLO, he was going for Hydralisk and Vipers, and he made his evolution chambers to like get energy from. At the 12 o'clock position, he dropped creep there, he brought the drones, and he made evolution chambers at 12 o'clock. And then I was like, what are you doing? He's like, yeah, he's pretty good, like you're closer to the fight. And yeah, that was pretty cool. I definitely think that if we see him play again as well later against Protoss, he might do something like that as well. So I really hope that we get to cast the TLO game later on. But right now, we're going to have HasuObs versus Censure. And HasuObs, he's gone for a pylon inside of his base in the corner here. He's going to go for the gateway.
Okay. And of course, we never actually got around to it, but in the top right position, ladies and gentlemen, we have a red Zerg player making it through the Bring Your Own Computer qualifier. So really cool stuff here. He wasn't seated directly in like some of the players who won the online qualifiers. He came here with his own computer, and he bossed his way through le joyeux français qui s'appelle Censure.
Oh, wow. Pretty nice introduction, man.
And he's going to be starting off with the pool inside his main base, and going to be sending a drone down as well, but Hasu already has a probe ready to stop that. Oh, and actually the probe not going back to... Yeah, he's not going back down to block. Normally, we see a lot of times when the probe goes into a main and sees a drone coming down, he immediately pops back out to try and block for a bit and scout the gas a bit later.
And this is a mistake, because from 240, if a Zerg hasn't gone for hatch first, he's really going to try around that time to throw down the hatchery. So HasuObs, he left at the worst time here, but... ultimately, he might not mind all that much because he's gone for a very different build. He's gone for the gateway, Nexus. He's added on a gas. After that, he's going to go for the core here in a second. And we might see some type of very early on pressure here. If he adds on a couple gateways in front of his expansion to wall it off, he's going to have wall gates so fast that a lot of Zergs, they will misreact against this. They will get a very quick third, in which case they cannot have speed on time. To deal with this, if they start the speed after the third. I think if Censure realizes now what he's up against, he should throw down a gas and go for speed quicker than he's actually getting it now, or he might go for the extra queens to help defend, but for now, he's not doing this at all.
Yeah, he's going to be grabbing his third straight away, actually. The drone's popping into that location, and we see a Zergling and a drone. Is Hasu going to attempt to block with anything else? No, I think he's just going to hightail it out of there. He knows that that third is about to be taken, otherwise the drone wouldn't be there. So he can effectively assume it's there. He'll just double-check a moment later, but he'll be playing as if against third base. And like you say, there is a potential here for some early pressure from HasuObs.
Yeah, and you know, it's weird, because like usually you will always try to confirm this third, but maybe HasuObs is thinking, well, you know, this guy's like not famous, he's not one of the top Zergs, he's never going to be tricking me here by sending a third one, which is really something you would expect from only some of the greatest players in the world. So that's happened to me before, you know. I have a funny story. When I played at DreamHack a while back, I was playing against Madelisk. And she took a third base, and I was like, it's a girl. She will never cancel the third and do a bailing bust. Well, guess what? She did.
The third and do a bailing bust.
She did, and I almost died. I barely held. And then when I told her the story later on, she was laughing a lot.
I mean, it's certainly possible. The thing is, it's like, yeah, it doesn't take a GM player to cancel a hatchery or anything like that, but it's more about mapping out all the actions you're going to do after you cancel it and knowing exactly what all the timings are. And that's just not something that you would have at your disposal unless you've played the game so many times with this strategy that you haven't mapped out to a T.
And we have Censure getting a whole couple of links here. He wants to be safe against any type of pressure. Having the Mothership Core out and a couple gate units out on the map, I think if HasuObs wants to throw it on a proxy pylon, he's going to be able to. And we see a probe in position here. He's actually made the pylon in a position where there's going to be a lot of links. He needs to, he needs to redirect it. And we have no overload above this.
Yeah, Also, a little bit of a mistake there from Censure. That Mothership Core and Stalker took out an Overlord sort of outside the 5th base kind of position, but he didn't actually have another Overlord in production, even though it was almost dead, so he supply blocked himself for a bit there.
And you know, HasuObs is only on 3 gates. This is not going to do anything. He didn't have a forge yet. He's going to make it now. He's going to complete his wall. And HasuObs feeling very indecisive in this game. I mean, he had banked up a lot of energy on both of his Nexi. He wasn't chrono boosting anything for a long time, so he's going to start chrono boosting a couple Zealots, making a couple Zealots for the moment. He has 3. He has a Stalker, he has a Mothership Core, but I mean, we have enough links out of Censure to buy himself enough time until he gets more. And I'm actually surprised he hasn't made extra queens just yet. He might actually get surprised by an attack here. Censure not putting too much effort into scouting this bottom right-hand position here.
He's got the Roach Warren on the way, about to complete, and the layer is here as well, but the attack is going to be coming long before any Roaches pop out onto the field. Mothership Core, 5, 6 Zealots and a Stalker now going to be besieging this 3rd base. Can he potentially take it out? We have 2 Lings and 7 Roaches in production at the moment, but now we have some Lings to try and distract the army in the meantime. Time Warp going down on the Lings as well. Hatch down to half health, but he has units to take care of now, and the Roaches should be able to pop out in time.
And HasuObs getting himself in a great position here. He's going to be between the minerals and the hatchery. All of those links, there's actually only a very few of them hitting those Zealots of HasuObs. The Mothership Core is going to be microed back for the moment, but as the first few Roaches come out, I think Censure should be able to hold this if he micros well.
Yeah, they didn't pop from the 3rd base hatchery, so they had to walk all the way from the main, and don't forget the natural and the 3rd are not yet covered by creep. So the 3rd is going to survive on slightly less than half health. The Roaches come in to clean it up, and as it currently stands, 60 supply for a Protoss player versus 80-ish for our Zerg, 50 to 45 worker supply in favor of HasuObs, who was macroing up like a madman behind that.
Actually, behind this, I feel his macro was not nearly as good as how it should have been. He's only made probes. He started the 2 assimilators very late at his expansion. He's made a Stargate, but I mean, right now he should already have a Robo, a couple extra gates as well, probably 2 more. He's got a lot of money. He's going to start making a few pylons at once.
There's the chrono boost. Okay. Yeah, he's a lot of energy as well.
Censure, he had a really nice Overlord above those assimilators at the expansion of HasuObs, so he knows that he took them very late. He has an Overlord by the 3rd of HasuObs. If he starts dropping creep there as soon as layer is finished, which already is actually, he can buy himself enough time to get a lot of drones and be very far ahead economically compared to HasuObs. He's getting a macro hatch in his main, he's getting an evolution chamber, and I think he can transition into anything he wants here. If he wants to go for Hydralisks, he can. It does not look like he would switch to Mutas. He's only on 4 gases just yet.
Do you think this was a direct side effect, maybe, of HasuObs only having the 3 gateways early on? So Censure was in a position where he knew if I held off the first attack, there'll be a large window where I can just do anything I want?
I don't think he looked that far away into the game. He just saw that there was no gases, so he knew aggression was going to come. Somehow he was still not that ready for it. I mean, HasuObs got into a great position in the end. Censure was able to defend. And behind this, Censure is just droning, and right now I think he's deciding what to do on the go, basically, and he's going for the ventral sacks. We might see some very big drop play here. He's going to try to go for the fast max. And right now he's getting a couple of those Roaches picked off by those Phoenixes. And HasuObs, he might... No, actually, I think he's going to go for a 3rd. I mean, he's made way too many probes not to take a 3rd. So he's going for the Robo Bay right now, and we might have a cancel on the 3rd.
Oh, I think we can force it if we target it here. And there goes the Time Warp to try and stop the units from popping in. But no, it looks like Censure is going to be trying to engage this army straight up right now. The force fields are good. How much energy do we have left on the sentries? Not too much, but the Phoenix is behind, lifting a couple of Roaches as well. And it looks like with the Immortal there in that composition as well, HasuObs is going to force Censure back. I wonder what would have happened there if Censure went in with the Roaches, hit the Nexus once or twice, force a cancel, and then try and get out. Would that have been better there?
Yeah, most likely. Or even not going at all, because right now, he's not committing to any tech. I mean, he's not getting ventral sacks, he's getting overload speed, he's already got it. He's getting a +1 missile attack. I think what he wanted to do was just get maxed as soon as possible. We see the overlords getting into position here to maybe drop later on, but Phoenixes might run into them. And if you see this many overlords moving together, it can only mean one thing.
That's right, and the Overlords are going to be heading out towards that location in just a bit. More creep spread going down here at the 3rd base. Of course, the Phoenixes can't do anything about that. The 3rd base now going to be attacked by some Lings to start off with, forcing the army to pop down, and a lot of reinforcements in Lings and Roaches coming through.
And HasuObs should be able to defend this with ease for the moment. And Censure is actually committing a lot to this. Nice force fields do go down. And a lot of those Roaches are going to be trapped in there. They're going to trade against the Zealots. In the meantime, the Overlords are gonna maybe move in at 6 o'clock position, in which case Censure can attack with this big army he has over here and drop in the meantime in the main, in which, I mean, for HasuObs it would be very hard to defend if he does not see this coming. You can warp units in your main, but there are only going to be gate units. He has his Robo in the middle of his main as well.
I think the biggest problem Censure has right now is with the Phoenixes on the map, how do you get enough units to put in those Overlords down there without the Phoenixes seeing it? And if he can do that, then he can catch HasuObs by surprise. But if he can't,
he's doing it now. He's rallying
the
new units he's making at the 6 o'clock position.
It's not too many, though. He needs to ideally like divert a little bit of that army through if he wants to attack quickly.
Yeah, but he only has a Roach Warren, so it can only be Roaches and Zerglings for the moment. But I think he's going to be okay if he just waits a bit longer. He doesn't even care about those Phoenixes killing his Roaches. He just wants to drop in the main, because if he can make the Protoss army split in half right now, it's going to be great for him. He has a big supply lead. He's on 129 army supply to 69. This might do a lot of damage. HasuObs, he has to react well here. He has to send back a big portion of his army to his main to defend against this.
And here we go, the drops coming into the main base, only sending 5 Overlords. I really like that, leaving the rest there. He's actually going to be pulling them back at the moment and simultaneously going into the third base. The army from Hasu is moving to defend the third as much as he possibly can, but in the meantime, the main base is getting a lot of stuff done to it. Good warp-ins from Hasu, though. The Zealots tanking a lot of damage. It looks like that by the time this battle is over, Censure won't have too much. In fact, he might actually need to abandon with this warp in as well. I
think the drop in the main was too small here, so HasuObs being able to defend with just a couple of gate units for the moment. He's actually moving back now. He has to be careful. Might get his Nexus sniped if he goes too far back. He has a lot of sentries, which is very worrying for Censure. If he moves too far out of position, this is going to happen with some nice force fields trapping a couple of those Roaches. In the meantime, we have more drops going down in the main. One Colossi came back to defend.
Oh, the Forge of the Natural Expansion might go down here. It's researching ground weapons level 2, and it is going to go down to just 3 Roaches there. So a nice little pick-off from Censure. And this kind of scenario is exactly what we were talking about before. He was rallying the new units to the 6 o'clock position to get into those drops, but the new units weren't being rallied out that quickly because so much of the army was outside the third, so the drop was always going to be significantly smaller. And it looks like, as a result, that it wasn't able to work very well.
And behind this, Censure, he wants to go for Mutas, so he's adding on a 5th and 6th gas at his third. He hasn't started mining from them just yet. And HasuObs, he's lost 1 forge. He's only on 1 attack upgrade. He's going to throw down 2 forges at his third. But I think right now he realizes he might have enough to deal with a full ground army. So he's going to move out in the middle of the map. He has 2 Colossi, 1 Immortal, a whole lot of sentries. He has so many sentries. He has 12 sentries right now. And with the Mothership Core in his army and with enough energy to recall, he's basically going to be very safe here. He can just force field, trap a couple units, kill them, and recall if he has to.
He's been so mobile out across the map as well, has Hasu. I'm actually a little bit... Okay, there we go. He does eventually pick up the Queen. Nothing is combating these Phoenixes. Nothing at all. So he can just go to town and try and pick up as many Queens as possible, limiting the larva as well. Decent force fields, not putting too many down at the moment, waiting for the army to engage, picking off that 4th base. Easy peasy. Censure is not even going to try an attack into that, but it's his third he really needs to worry about. It's still at half health, and if Hasu can snipe this off, he's going to be in a fantastic position.
Yeah, and I like the choice of letting the base die here, but I mean, HasuObs, he has such a big army. He's going to move in a position here where if he force fields well, he should be able to win this very easily, Trollsar.
I think so. We have 8 Corruptors on the way now, but the Phoenix is going to hold them at bay while the Colossi do a lot of damage. Force fields now going down against the army. A couple a little bit late, but managing to stop most of the Roaches. They're coming in from behind, though, and there aren't any additional force fields, but are the numbers just not enough here from Censure? It looks like a 145 supply to 150. Very, very close, but Hasu is in a fantastic position. I think he'll be able to keep the momentum.